Good afternoon, YouTube family. It is Andrea here at VW Family Farm. You can tell I'm in the greenhouse today. We are talking herbs again today. It is full-on herb harvesting time here in our zone. This is zone 7B, and we are slowly harvesting something just about every day. And so I'm trying to bring you guys information on what we're harvesting, why, what we do with it, and all that good stuff. So let's get started. So this monster right here is what we are going to be working on today. So if you are new around here, this is our greenhouse. We have tilapia in this big tote over here that then our water flows through all these beds. We have 4 of these beds that are filled with gravel. There is no dirt involved. The water from the fish flows all throughout these beds and feeds the plants. We have all kinds of things growing in here that we would not be able to grow. Lemons. We're super proud of this lemon tree. And just all kinds of things growing that we would not be able to grow all year round, but now we are. We have tomatoes. We actually have a papaya tree that we harvested several papayas off of. We would never be able to grow that here with as cold a winters as we do have. We're able to grow greens all year round. Look at the beauty and the colors and all of that. So we built this greenhouse with the intentions of growing our greens all year round. It's one of the things that I can't preserve and can, and so we like to keep those growing fresh all year round. But I've also stuck herbs in this greenhouse. I have several different herbs so that I have those growing all the time as well. Well, if you know anything about the monster I showed you a couple minutes ago, that is a chocolate mint plant. If you know anything about plants in the mint family, you know that they will quickly take over. They will make their home wherever you put them, and they will push everyone else out, and they will just grow and thrive. And that is what that thing has done. So today, I'm out here, I'm gonna harvest some. I'm gonna tell you, why do I even grow mint? Why do I grow chocolate mint? And what do I do with it? First things first, why do I grow mint? What are the benefits of it, and what do I do with it? Well, the number one reason I grow mint is to make tea out of it. And so that brings me to my personal story. So I've always liked hot tea. It's just something in the evenings or when it's cold outside, or even when it's not cold outside and I've had my shower for the night, I'm cleaned up and I'm feeling good and it's my chill time. I've always liked a good cup of hot tea. I love coffee as well. Coffee's always been my number one go-to. I am a coffee lover. But the last year or so, coffee has not loved me back. Last year, right after Thanksgiving, around the beginning of December, I started having little attacks, like stomach attacks, and I had some pretty severe symptoms. I spent several restless nights with my stomach hurting. So as my symptoms just got worse and worse, and I just wound up pretty much miserable and on all kinds of diets, like really restrictive diets, trying to heal my gut, my symptoms just continued. And the one thing I narrowed it down to that was hurting my stomach the worst, sadly to say, was coffee. So thankfully I have since got my diet in order and I eat a lot more gut healing foods than I did. And I have since, now I'm able to enjoy a cup of coffee as long as it's not too strong and as long as I don't overindulge. But there was a time there I couldn't have coffee at all. And it didn't matter if it was weak, it didn't matter if it was decaf. It just, the acidity in it was hurting my stomach. And that is where this chocolate mint came in. Not only was I having pain that felt like, what I narrowed it down to was it felt like from an ulcer, but I was also having lots of indigestion and acid reflux and all those types of things. But I still really wanted something warm to drink. That's just my routine, is to have my quiet time in the morning and have a warm cup of coffee, really. But that's where the chocolate mint saved me. It was such a wonderful replacement that, in fact, I almost came to like it just as much as coffee, if maybe not a little bit more. So let's talk about mint tea, and in this instance, chocolate mint tea. Mint tea in general is just wonderful for digestion. It's wonderful if you have any types of gas, bloating, indigestion like I was having, anything like that. It not only doesn't hurt those things like coffee was doing, it actually helps those things. It helps your digestion to work properly. It just makes sure you feel good when you drink it instead of paying for it later. The second benefit I found from drinking mint tea on a more regular basis, it's awesome for tension and headaches and those types of things. I am a high energy person. I go from daylight till dark most days, and I push and push. That's why my family sometimes calls me the slave driver, because I just want to go and go and go and go. If there's stuff on the to-do list, I want to knock it out today. I don't want to spread it out over 5 days. I want it all done, and I want it done now. And that can be a great thing, to be high energy and to be a go-getter. But it can also be a bad thing, because sometimes you need to learn to chill and let go of some of that tension and anxiety, and just learn to just be and to just calm down a little bit. And so mint tea has helped me with that. It's soothing and calming also to me when I drink it. It just makes me feel more chilled out and relaxed a little bit. What's crazy though is other people will tell you that it improves their energy. So I think it just balances you out. Whatever you are, if you need to chill or if you need some energy, I think it just, because it's a natural, God-given herb, it's like it's just what you need when you need it. I think that's just so amazing. It's also really, really great for clogged sinuses, any kind of sinus problems you might have. It's really good to drink a cup of mint tea to help those. As well as if, ladies, you're having trouble with menstrual cramps, it's really great for those. And finally, it has many antibacterial properties. So it's just has a whole gamut of things that it can help with. So let's get over there and let's get some mint harvested, and then I'm going to show you what to do with it after that. Okay, so my general rule of thumb is don't cut more than 1/3 of a plant at a time, because you might kill it. But I'm going to be honest, I don't think I could kill this if I wanted to. Mint is very hard to kill. It's almost invasive to where it will take over and you'll be fighting against it. So I'm just going to get to harvesting, but that is the recommended rule of thumb, 1/3 of the plant at a time. Okay, that is what is left. You can see I did a number on it, but I can actually see the bed again. I cleaned up all sides of it, and I'll probably actually have to trim this some more because it's trying to go over and take over that tomato plant. It's trying to climb up this papaya tree. It will just take over. All right, so we are back in the house. We have got a basket full of mint. So now what? So at this point you have several different options. I'm going to talk about 3 options for drying your mint leaves to make tea. You can use the old-fashioned method of tie them up in bundles and hang them from your windowsills or on a wall, something like that. I like that method personally. I think it looks old country farmhouse style. I just think it looks really neat hanging in people's kitchens. So that's always an option if you don't have anything else that you can dry them with. Secondly, you can always use just your oven that you cook in. Most conventional ovens do not go below 170, so that's as low as you'll be able to go. It's going to take you a couple of hours. You're going to need a crack in your oven door to let, as they're dehydrating, to let the moisture escape so that they will dehydrate. But that's definitely an option. You'll just have to keep an eye on it so you don't burn the leaves, but you can always do that. And finally, my preferred choice is dehydrating. I'm going to use my good old Excalibur dehydrator. If you don't have one of those, I'm going to link them below. Start saving for one because it is awesome, awesome for food preservation. I struggled with a cheaper dehydrator for a long time, And finally on Black Friday one year, ordered it, didn't even have to get out of the house, saved a ton of money, and I have loved that thing ever since. So I'm just gonna spread them out on the trays in a single layer and get going. One thing before we start, if your leaves are not dirty, I wouldn't wash them at this point. I am not washing mine. They've been in a greenhouse. They've just been hanging off the side of the bed. They're not wet or anything. Now, if you feel like your leaves are dirty, you can certainly rinse them off to rinse the dust off and all that. You just want to make sure you shake the water off of them really good when you get them out. Lay them gently on some paper towel or a dish towel so they can go ahead and dry, because the point of all this is to dry them. So you don't want to start out with wet, soggy leaves. All right, so these are my Excalibur trays. I am just simply gonna lay these on here. You can take the leaves off and just dry the leaves at this point, but I find it easier just to lay little branches of leaves on my trays and then crinkle the leaves up and get rid of the stems at the end. You can actually pile these up a little more than just a single layer. They will still dry just fine. I wouldn't just load it up to where it's just like piled up high, but a couple layers is fine. It suggests on a cookie sheet doing it about 1 inch deep, so that gives you something to go on. After you get all your trays filled, shut your lid. All right, so you can see on the Excalibur, there's a setting for herbs and living foods. It's 105 degrees. That's as low as your dehydrator will go if it is like mine. And then you're just gonna turn your timer on. I'm gonna turn mine all the way around to about 24 hours. I don't think it'll take that long, but you can just check it every few hours. It's no exact science. I can't tell you exactly how long to dehydrate this because there's a lot of factors involved. How wet was your mint when you put it in there? How thick did you put it on the tray? So you'll just need to keep an eye on it. It's gonna take several hours at the least. So just keep an eye on it. And the beauty of a dehydrator is at 105, that's very low temperature. It's not like in the oven where you're risking burning it very easily. It's not as fine of a line as it is when you have a higher temperature. So when it's finished, it will be crunchy. Here is some I've done before. You're gonna know it's done when it's really crunchy like this, and it'll just kind of crunch up into tea leaves. It'll crunch right away from that stem that you left on it. You can discard that at this point, and you have made mint tea. All right, so once dried, mint that is dried properly for tea will last several years, especially if you put it in a glass container with a tight fitting lid. I just use old lids, and then I use rings that I use for canning. This has kept really well. It'll keep all the benefits. It'll stay fresh. When you open this up, it still smells really, really fresh and minty, just like when I put it in there. So my favorite way to use this is I have this little tea ball. I just get a few leaves. You can see I could have crushed those up a lot smaller, but that's just how I roll. I'm just a getter done, and it works just the same. So I fill that up, drop it down in a cup, pour hot water over it, and I steep it for just a few minutes. I have no exact time, maybe 5 minutes. Let that steep. So after you've waited about 5 minutes, it's extracted the golden goodness out of this mint. You're gonna take this out and compost it. And then the final beautiful touch is some of our good old VWFF honey, harvested right here on our farm, about a teaspoon mixed in. Not only is the tea good for you, the honey, as long as your water is not too hot at this point, has all kinds of great properties for allergies as well as everything else. It's just really good for you, and it tastes delicious. So that's it. That's how easy it is to grow and raise your own tea. It's not anywhere near that easy to grow and harvest coffee beans. Now, I am by no means bashing coffee. I still love a good cup of coffee, and now that I have my gut healed, I can enjoy an occasional cup of coffee. But you can see, you could easily, if you needed to, replace your coffee habit with tea that actually tastes delicious. When I couldn't have coffee at all, I got to where I was craving tea. It was that good to me. And tea has so many wonderful properties. And I'm talking about herbal teas that are made from good things from the land. They just all have different properties that nourish your body. I do want to throw in here, because I had a couple comments on my last video about echinacea. I am by no means a doctor. I'm not medically trained. I have just educated myself on more natural healing and herbs and teas and tinctures and things like that. So you always need to do your own research. If you're uncomfortable with something, you need to look into it for yourself. There's reasons why people might need to or not need to use herbs or berries or all kinds of different things. So you need to be sure when you watch these YouTube videos that you then take that info and research it yourself. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. God bless.